So for those of you who don't know us, I'm Melissa.
And I'm Dan.
And we run a company called Loving Superfoods. We've been running it for, I have to up my count, 9 years? 8 years? 9 years? Almost a decade? Quite a while. And in that time, we've also been using the products that we sell. So we eat a lot of raw superfoods. We are not raw. We are not vegan. We don't label ourselves. We just like to eat really high quality foods. And we eat a lot of raw superfoods. And that's what we sell online on our website, lovingsuperfoods.com. And in our journey of health, we have done a lot of cleanses. And so that's what this webinar is about, is we're going to share our experiences of the good and the bad and what makes cleansing easy and why do you want to do it. We'll just share a wealth of knowledge, and I'll actually try to pull back a little bit and not overshare, because I really could talk for hours about cleansing, and Dan's not a big talker, but he could talk for hours too. And so we'll share kind of some top highlights, and then we'll open it up for questions you have that may be specific to what you're working with right now or things you're considering. And then at the end, I'll give you a link for a cleansing book that I'm about to release. So right now there's nothing up there, but essentially it's going to be the complete brain dump of all the cleanses we've done and the recipes that we've really liked for smoothies and juices and soups and things to support you as you do a cleanse. And so that'll be available. It'll be like a $5 ebook that you can download and print. So if you want the full nitty-gritty story, that'll be the way to get the rest of it. And then, of course, if you have specific questions, we'll answer them on this. And our intention is this runs from 10 to 11 Pacific time, so about an hour. It may be less if you don't have a lot of questions, and I'll try to keep our talking portion a little shorter at the beginning so that you can have more time to ask questions. And I think I've got you all muted. If you can, it'd be great if you can mute. If you're by phone, it's *6, so we don't have any background noise, and then I'll open it up. This conference call system changes a little bit every time I use it, so you see me kind of poking around like, how does that work? Just bear with me, but at least we get to see each other, and I'm also recording this too, so they'll still be up on YouTube maybe tomorrow or maybe next week. I'm not going to make any promises, but you'll get an email if you signed up through our Loving Superfoods newsletter or through one of our meetup groups. You'll get a broadcast with a link to our YouTube channel and the video of this. That about cover it?
Yep.
All right. So I'm just going to go through what we said, what we're going to cover, and we'll talk, and then we'll open it up for questions. So the first thing we said we wanted to talk about is why and when to do a cleanse. So I think one of the most obvious whys that a lot of people consider doing a cleanse is to lose weight. And weight is a really good signal of, like, especially if it's fat around your tummy or your butt, that's a good signal that your body is actually holding on to some toxins that could be released with a cleanse. And then, of course, you feel better because you're at a healthy weight, and, you know, it's not necessarily fun to carry around a lot of fat. So that's number one, a really good reason. A second good reason is if you're experiencing any kind of health issues. So if you have low energy, if you have skin issues, if you have digestion issues, if you have any kind of dis-ease, no matter what it is, cleansing can be really helpful because you're supporting your body's natural ability to restore its health. And essentially what happens is we take in a lot of toxins from our environment. It can be toxins from the foods that we eat. It can be, Dan's giggling at your little poking your head up there, Judy. Toxins from the foods that we eat. It can be toxins from pollution. It can be toxins from cleaning supplies. It can be toxins from overeating herbal medicines, and it can be toxins from pharmaceutical drugs. So there's lots of different ways that things that the body doesn't know how to process, that don't belong there, which I would call toxins, that it basically stores it in fat. And so doing a cleanse helps your body to actually push those toxins out. That's why you then release fat as well. And your body operates more smoothly, and you're not carrying around toxins and fat.
Yeah, and I would add that dairy products are particularly mucus forming, and white flour type products they kind of turn into a glue, and a lot of that stuff tends to accumulate on the intestinal walls and restrict and not only be a toxic environment, but restrict the intake of nutrients too.
That's a really good point. So cleansing helps to flush that out so you can intake the nutrients and the good foods that you're adding in. That's a good point. So when to do a cleanse, really if you feel it, trust your intuition, that's probably a good idea to do it. And we really like, a lot of people think of doing a cleanse around the new year because it's like a reset button, a fresh start, as a form of a resolution. Cleanses really do a reboot. It's like you've initiated your will. You said, okay, I'm not going to eat these things. I'm going to eat these things for this extended period of time, whatever that time frame is. And then when you do that, it's like rebooting your lifestyle and rebooting your body. I really love to time cleanses around 4 times a year. Think about the equinox and the solstice. Spring and vernal equinox, so spring and fall, are natural kind of rhythmic times where a lot of people think of cleansing. Like your liver likes to cleanse in the spring and in the fall. There's dandelions are out that support liver detox, so there's like natural rhythms to that. And you don't have to follow that. Really, if you feel like cleansing, cleanse. I heard David Wolf from Longevity Now say that you should cleanse 1 day for every year that you're old. And so when I turned 40, I did 4 10-day cleanses. And that was that. I did it that 1 year, and that's where a lot of the book information comes from, because we did a lot of experimenting that year on different kinds of cleanses. And I don't think it's that necessary. I think if you cleanse once a year, that's like way over a lot of people. And you don't want to overdo it either. You want to have like a full-on enjoyment of life, everything in moderation, including moderation.
Yeah, and some of them are a lot more intense than others. Some you can't really do while you're working, and so if you want to do multiple cleanses, then it's nice to have a variety, and some that are a lot easier on your system, and not too many that are intense.
Yeah. So you'll hear us say this a lot, really trust your intuition, and the more you do cleanses, the more you'll be in tune with what your body is needing. And so listen to that. That's your best guide ever, better than anything we say, better than what a doctor can say, really just feeling into what does your body need. And then temper that with the information that you get from books and doctors and other people's experiences to help guide you, because your intuition will guide you to information in perfect timing. So the more you can be in tune with your intuition and what your body's wisdom is, then the easier your cleansing processes will be. And the more you'll feel like, yes, I need to do that liver cleanse now, I can feel it. And then everything will feel in alignment for you. So which types of cleanses to use for which situations? I think what I'm going to add into the book is actually like a gradation, because some cleanses are really easy places to start if you've never cleansed before, and then some are more intense that I wouldn't recommend if you've never cleansed before, because you'll probably have a lot of detox reactions, and really the idea of a cleanse is to make it as easy as possible. This is not something you have to rush. The only reason that you would do an intense cleanse if you were dealing with something like cancer or a serious life-threatening disease that you needed to get those toxins out now and really do a fast reboot of your system. But most often we don't need fast reboots, and even in some of those disease situations you can cause a lot more problems for your body if you try to rush it. So really be easy with yourself and go gently, and we'll talk more about how to handle detox symptoms that come up. Those are your cues of, I need to actually rest more, or I need to take care of my body, or maybe back off of this cleanse that's maybe too intense for my body right now. Because essentially every time you cleanse, you're releasing toxins and moving them out of the fat cells that they're in and flushing them out of your body, ideally through your elimination systems, through your digestive tract, primarily through your pooping, and then also through your skin, through sweating. Your lymph will do some cleansing through your blood. Your liver will do a lot of cleansing through its filtration systems. But really, more than anything, what will be visible to you is the amount and the quality of your poop, and maybe how you're sweating, how your skin is. Those are probably the most apparent. So keep it easy and gentle. I ended up with a hemorrhoid because I had done a too intense cleanse. So You know, it's not that big of a deal, but like you don't have to do that. It can be easy. So what types for what situations? Somebody just emailed me this week and asked, I'm ready to start. What do I do? What supplements do I buy? What meal plan do I use? And my response is really the simplest place to start is eat raw until dinner. Now, if you're already 100% raw and vegan, that might not be too big of a deal. But if you're eating a standard American diet, that's hugely transformational. Just eating raw foods until dinner time and then having a balanced, some kind of cooked meal, whether it's meat or vegetarian, whatever, that can work wonders. And I just started on that this last week. I was like, I'm starting to feel like I have too much weight around my tummy again. I must have been eating a fair amount of toxins, exposed to some more stress. And so I've been eating a lot of smoothies at lunch and raw until dinner, and already pooping more and losing some of that weight around my middle. And with raw until dinner, you can eat a variety of foods. So you're not restricted to one kind of food. You can do all kinds of different things, and our blog has lots of raw food recipes, so I encourage you to check that out if you want to go that direction. The other thing you can do for different situations, if you have digestive issues, the salt flush cleanse is really great for helping to flush that out, and it's also cleansing at a cellular level. And you can look up on our blog Salt Flush, and you'll see the full details on how to do that. It's a simple cleanse. Stay near the bathroom. Do it on a weekend, and you'll notice that your body feels super hydrated after that, and you have a flush through your digestive tract. What else would you recommend as an easy place to start?
Well, it's hard to answer that, not knowing where you're starting from.
Sure.
You know, I would say, like, for instance, if someone is overly toxic, I would probably recommend starting with a liver cleanse, because the liver's got to handle the toxic overload of the cleansing. And if it's already suffering and not that efficient, then a liver cleanse, liver flush will get rid of the problems there and help that be much more efficient, so that it can cope with whatever toxins are being released during the cleanse.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The liver cleanse, when I did that, was hugely transformational, very revealing, finding what's in your liver as it comes out. And you can see my blog post about that with pictures, if you feel like delving into that arena. But if you find that you have nausea, especially when you're doing a cleanse, that's a really good indicator that your liver is overtaxed. And so doing a liver cleanse will make other cleanses later much easier. And that's definitely one you want to do on a weekend.
I mean, a raw juice cleanse is a pretty easy way to start as well. The only thing with that is sometimes you don't have as fiber to help move things through.
So let's talk about that. So there's a real good distinction between doing smoothies, green smoothies or fruit smoothies or both, versus juicing. And really, if you have any digestive issues, if you have irritable bowel syndrome or hemorrhoids or anything where you feel like you need to give your digestive tract a break, then juicing is a really great way to go, because it's super nutritional, like lots and lots and lots of nutrients, jam-packed, more than smoothies, more nutrients, because you're pouring so many fruits and vegetables in to get that quantity of juice, and no fiber. And the fiber can sometimes be irritating to your bowel. So, and you'll see the movie Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead is a great video excursion of one man and his journey, and then others who started as well, completely transforming their health with juice cleanses. And really, it's juice feasting. You want to eat a lot of juices. So you're pouring nutrients in and not really any fiber. So those are produce intensive and kind of time intensive, because juicing requires cleaning the juicer, that requires a little more time, but really soothing. Now, smoothies are more what I'm doing right now is in my raw until dinner, because they're super easy. And if you don't have bowel issues and you're wanting to flush things out, the fiber in smoothies can actually be really helpful to move things out. And then we'll also recommend a chia gel or flaxseed gel or aloe gel. Those 3 gels are really soothing for your digestive tract and help to bind toxins and move them out as well. So if you don't have digestive issues, irritable bowel, or hemorrhoids, then smoothies are a really easy place to start. And if you're wanting to move things faster, or you have digestive issues, then juicing would be a good way to go. And, you know, if it's summertime and there's a plethora of fruits and vegetables, that's a really great time to do juicing fasts, or juicing feasts, really. I'd rather do a juicing feast than a fast. So you're just pouring the nutrients into your body, and that feeds your cells at such a deep level that they naturally then release the toxins that they were holding on to because they've got the nutrients they need. All right, so let's talk about how to support specific body systems. So we talked a little bit about some of the elimination systems. We just talked about your digestive tract and supporting it by either giving it no fiber if it's injured, or the right kind of soothing fiber if you're wanting to flush things out. The salt flush is really good at a cellular level. The liver cleanse comes from Andreas Moritz's book, The Amazing Liver and Gallbladder Flush, I think is what it's called. And we'll have a link for that for you as well. But that is a great book at step-by-step how to do the liver cleanse. And we mentioned that if you're having nausea or while you're cleansing, or you have pain on that right side of your body, spring and fall are particularly really great times to do a liver cleanse, and do it over the weekend.
Yeah, and if you've never done one, it's just a really good idea to do every now and then. I mean, it's the main filtration system of the body, and just like, you know, in your car where you could change the oil filter every now and then, you really need to clean out the filter of your body every now and then. And it's you really feel a lot more vibrant after a liver cleanse.
Definitely. You can also do a lymph cleanse, and there are a couple different ways to do it. I normally recommend using our Vitalize Herbal Lymph Cleansing product, which is amazing. However, we don't have it in stock, and I don't know when we will. So what I recommend instead for your lymph is you can do dry skin brushing, which actually helps your skin as well as your lymph. And you're brushing, like if you're on your arm, you brush towards your armpits. So if it's above the navel, you brush towards your armpits. That's where the main lymph nodes are there. So neck down towards your armpits. And then below the navel, you brush up towards your groin, or down from your navel towards your groin. So all towards the lymph nodes in your groin. And then the other thing that I've done before too, I had a massage that just went wrong one day. She must have rubbed me the wrong way. And I Googled it. I was like, what is going on? My skin felt like it was sunburned, but it wasn't. It hurt to touch, and there was no sunburn whatsoever, but it felt like that. And it turns out it was a lymph stagnation. It was a lymph issue. And a friend of ours is trained in lymphatic massage, and it's real easy, light touch, and she redirects the lymph directions, which are really subtle. And that can have a huge cleansing reaction, but that completely wiped out the sunburn-like effects that I was having. And we're going to pause for a moment because my cat, Merla, is about to walk across the computer. She wants to say hi to you all. Actually, she really wants to go outside, but this is Merla. And her complaining, if you were hearing meowing in the background, this is the little creature who's...
The little meower.
The meower, yeah. So we'll try to get her to settle down here. Anyway, so lymph cleansing, and lymph that system is responsible for cleansing the minute toxins in your bloodstream. So if you get like frontal headaches, that's often an indication of little toxins in those capillaries in your head that are just getting stuck. If you have sleep issues, which relate to your adrenals, that can be an indication of lymph. So usually the sleep issue is... No, she's just going to town on her cat and mouse. Sorry. Free entertainment with this call. Anyway, if you have sleep issues where like you have a hard time getting to sleep, and then you zonk out and you wake up like 2 hours later, like wide awake, ready to go, that's a good indication that your lymph needs to be cleansed. And what's happening is the channel in the lymph system is blocked in some way, and so even when you're moving around, it's not opening the lymph fluid to move, and your adrenals kick in and wake you up and say, you need to move, the lymph isn't flowing. So that would be a really good time to start doing the skin brushing, get a lymphatic massage, and or rebounding. Gentle bouncing on a trampoline or one of those exercise balls, or walking. All of those things help your lymph to flow and vitalize if we had it. Sorry. Anything else? Specific body systems? Liver, digestive, lymph, skin, sweat. Sweating is really good as a cleanse. You can go to, like we used to go to the Korean spa in Dallas all the time. We love that. Anything where you get to sweat, that's helping this major organ that releases toxins through your skin. And hot baths can be really good for that too. All right, so let's talk about detox symptoms before we start to turn it over to you for questions. This is the part of cleansing that you want to pay attention to keep it easy. So the most common detox symptoms are headache, tiredness, sluggishness, pooping, but that's actually normal, so stay near your bathroom. Headache, nausea.
It would be just, sore muscles.
Sore muscles, right. So those are, you can in a way celebrate it, like, all right, it's working, but you can also minimize it to make it easier for you, especially if you're cleansing while you're at work. So what I recommend is if it's a real light case of any of these, then you just do remedies to handle it. So you can do lavender oil on your temples for headache. You can drink more water to help flush out the toxins that are being released right now. You can do a chia gel to help flush out the toxins that are releasing. A hot Epsom salts bath is really great for the sore muscles and for the headache. Peppermint tea is really great for nausea, and that can also help headaches to some extent. And then sleep. Get more rest. Your body does a lot of repair work while you're sleeping. So if you can schedule more time for sleep, for naps, a longer sleep night, that would be ideal. And then if it's kind of getting too much for you, then back off on the cleanse. Eat something that's outside of your cleanse food. And that's one of the reasons I really like the raw till dinner. That kind of enforces that a little bit of daily life in there. And if you're doing a what I would call more extreme cleanse, like a juicing feast, you might not want to go all the way out to having like, a ham sandwich with some cheese on it, but you could branch out and maybe have a cooked vegetarian meal or do a smoothie to just slow down your cleansing process a little bit so it's more manageable, because it doesn't have to be hard. And then the other thing to do is especially if you're new to cleansing, start on a weekend. Either start on the Friday. Usually the first 3 days of like a 10-day cleanse are where the most detox symptoms happen. And then after that third day, there's usually a marked improvement and you're like, I have so much energy that I can do anything. I'm going to stay on this cleanse forever, until you get tired of it.
Yeah, totally. First 3 days, you make it through that, you're golden.
Yeah. So if you can time those first 3 days, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, usually the first day isn't quite as bad. The second or third tend to have a little bit more. And so you just, curl up, have more sleep time, take hot baths, drink peppermint tea, drink a lot of water, and drink high quality water, as high quality as you can. We go and we harvest spring water from a local spring. You can find springs near you from
findaspring.com.
Thank you. findaspring.com. And that's our ideal, but filtered water, reverse osmosis water, add some minerals back into it, but not the tap with fluoride and chlorine in it. If you can avoid it, that would be ideal.
Do you want to mention Master Cleanse or not?
I think if you're interested in learning about the Master Cleanse, that'll be in the book in full detail. That's what I would call a more advanced cleanse, because you're basically just eating the lemonade drink of hot water, lemon juice, cayenne, and maple syrup. And it's more of a fast than like a juice feast. So it's giving your body just the bare minimum nutrients, and then your body does a lot of cleansing. It's great. It works really well. It's 10 days. And
you'll be tired of the taste of it by the time you're done. But yeah, it's a good cleanse.
It's a good cleanse. So we'll have more details about that and our experiences with it. It's actually a really fascinating cleanse mentally too, because you recognize how much of our society is built around food. It's amazing. Like, everyone's going to a restaurant now, and that's how they socialize. And here I am with my lemonade drink. So that'll be in the book as well of how to manage things like that. And the last piece is what raw food recipes are recommended for cleansing. So we talked about juicing and smoothies. You can also do raw soups as a warmed kind of version of a smoothie that's more savory. And I have some really great soup recipes that are in the book as well, and on our blog. If you just want to look those up, just look for raw soup.
Chia pudding.
Chia pudding is like a go-to. Like I really like, if you're doing a juice feast or a smoothie kind of cleanse, I really like incorporating chia pudding in it, because that soothing gel, it gives you something to chew on a little bit, and that soothing gel really helps flush out the toxins, and that seems, for me, that reduced a lot of my detox symptoms by having some chia pudding in there. And it's chia seeds in coconut milk. You can, when I'm on a cleanse, I usually do it without a sweetener. But you can do it with our original chia pudding recipe with a sweetener in it, and then you get dessert, or without it. It's more like almost like an oatmeal replacement, and I find that really soothing. And then we have lots and lots of raw food recipes. So I'm eating kale salad and smoothies as my lunch during my raw till dinner cleanse. Tastes great.
And there's always chocolate bliss.
And there's always chocolate bliss. I can't believe I didn't recommend that. It's such a natural part of my life that for me, actually, cleansing is often when I go off of chocolate bliss, and I've confirmed for myself, oh yeah, I have no addictions to this. I'm totally fine on it or off of it. But if you've never eaten superfoods, chocolate bliss is a great, gentle way to cleanse. Just adding it into your diet, you can start to notice it. You poop more regularly. Your skin starts to get a little more glow to it. You can start to have a lot of healing from it just by adding chocolate bliss into your diet. And that's true of anything that's really densely nutritious. So just adding densely nutritious foods into your diet is a really simple, easy way to start to cleanse. And then and removal of toxins. So like you may have heard of Whole30. That's basically a diet that's based on removing toxins. I like a combination that's remove toxins and add high quality nutrients. That's giving your body the best version of success to be able to cleanse itself.
Yeah, the other thing I would add is if you're doing something like a juice fast or the master cleanse, and I think this is in the details on the master cleanse, but you really need to you do enemas every now and then if you're doing that, because there's no fiber to help move things through, and it's important to get all that out.
Yep. Flush it out.
Yep.
That's the name of the game. And if you've never done an enema before, we'll just be the voice here that tells you it's easy. It's very, very easy. We have complete instructions on how to do it, and there's a couple kinds you can do. You can do coffee enemas. I really like. That comes from the Gerson therapy for treating cancer, but it's really, really great for your liver, and they're very energizing, and they feel really good.
Yeah, they really help eliminate any kind of soreness or headaches, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And then a baking soda enema is another great one, because of the alkalizing nature of the baking soda that helps to rebalance your gut at the lower colon, and help flush out the acidity of the toxins that are being released. It eases that process as well.
They are generally very acidic.
Yep. And then a friend of mine, I haven't done this one, but she did a probiotic enema where she added probiotics to it to repopulate the lower colon. So that would be a great one to do. And they're very simple. Basically what we've done is we just lay down like a plastic sheet in the bathroom and a towel on top of that, and have a pillow for your head. Get the temperature just right. You really want to test the temperature like on your hand or something so that it's body temperature, not too hot. And then have a place like a towel rack that you can hang the enema bag, and get the measurement. It's usually, do you remember what the measurement is? Like about a foot.
It's 18 inches.
18 inches that the bottom of the
bag is above you, yeah.
Right. And, just make it a ritual where you're really nurturing your body and having a time out. You're just laying on the floor on your side and relaxing. So the full details about how to do it are on our blog, and they'll be in the book as well. But if you've never done one before, I highly recommend them. And then if you can also find someone who does colonics, that's another way that you can achieve a similar effect. But you really want to find someone that you can trust. I only know one person in Dallas, Texas that I really love, and he actually has people fly in to see him. Dennis Trinity Healing, I think. Something like that. I'll put that in the book too. Anyway, colonics, ask around, get really good referrals, and make sure that you feel comfortable with the person. But that's super helpful because it's like an enema, only they're managing the amount of fluid that's going into your colon and massaging your stomach at the same time, and help unblock where things are stuck. and really helpful.
And they usually have clear tubes also where you can see what's coming out, which can be very revealing.
Yeah, it's fun to look at what's coming out of you. It's like a celebration of success. Like, yeah, I got rid of that.
It's like, oh my God, I think I ate that when I was a kid.
I haven't had that for 10 years. Oh, thank God I'm finally letting that go. So I think we've entered the humor portion, and that's a really good time to turn it over to you and let you ask your questions. And I see that we have quite a few chat things. I'm just turning over to a chat window here as well. So I'll start to answer those, and then bear with me. This is where I have to figure out the technology, especially because things have changed. I think what I'm going to do is I had all your microphones turned off, so I'm going to just turn them all on. So just know that if you're doing something else right now, mute yourself if you don't want us to hear you, and then we'll just let you ask your questions as we go here. Let me see if I got you all. Oh, okay. I think I've got you all turned back on. And I'm going to come over to the chat area. So, so Junie says, this is very weird. Why not do it on YouTube? I can't actually ask any questions. Have to write them here. But I'm in and loving it. It's always great to learn more and more. Yeah. I really like this system. So what we like to do is just have a moment where we can share our kind of spew the fire hydrant of information at you, and then give you time to ask questions, and it will go up on YouTube at the end. You're listening. Okay, great. Bridget or Brigitte. I'm so with you on all of this. Need to run to drive someone to a cruise ship port, but I'm looking forward to the recording. Best wishes. Great. All right. So Junie, you have a question about fruit. So many raw people stress the importance of fruit to cleanse, but in the winter, even here in Florida, it's cold. Not only is the fruit unripe and eating it leaves me cold, almost shivering, I just got rid of my juicer, and only liquids just aren't satisfying for those of us who like to chew. Really good points. I'm glad you're bringing this up. Would sprinkling chocolate bliss over food be just as good? All right, so there's lots of things to address in here. Wintertime cleansing, yeah. Raw foods is naturally cooling to the body. And so, in fact, people who go 100% raw sometimes find that they have this binge response. If they've been raw on just like fruits and vegetables for a long period of time, they suddenly binge eat chips and salsa or cereal or bagels and cream cheese, and it's actually your spleen kicking in and saying your temperature's off. You need drying warm foods. And so you can counter that by adding spices to your foods. You can add a little bit of cayenne in. You can do ginger, garlic. I really like the kimchi, the raw kimchi from Rejuvenate Foods is just the right amount of spice. It's got the ginger and peppers in it. So that can help with that kind of, it's too cold, I need something warming. And you can also do warmed foods. So it can still be raw up to 115 degrees. So that's why I recommend, like some of our raw soup recipes, you can take those and just warm it a little bit. For fruits, in the wintertime, I don't do as many fruits. I do more vegetables, and I do frozen fruits so that they're still ripe. And I also do my best to get ripe fruits in the summer and freeze them myself so I know what level of ripeness they were. And yes, spices and kimchi, definitely. And fiesta mole, yes. Fiesta mole is a really great one as well. The question about the chocolate bliss, yeah, you can definitely sprinkle that in. More hemp seeds, I haven't mentioned those yet, but those are a staple in my superfoods. They're a staple in my life. They're in chocolate bliss. I add more to it. I do superfood bowls with hemp seeds. They're really just a really soft protein that have all the amino acids that your body needs, and it can be really satisfying.
A lot of fiber too.
Yeah. It's not the same kind of fiber as chia gel, so it's not as soft, but it's not hard. The chewing question, I'm glad you brought this up because I really want to make a point about this. Someone in one of our raw food classes gave me this phrase that you drink what you eat and eat what you drink. And so the point of that is when you're drinking your juice or your smoothie to make little chewing motions like that, because even doing that now, it activates your salivary glands. Like I'm already salivating. And so there's this natural body response that when you're chewing, it's activating the salivary glands and it's telling your stomach, food's coming, get ready. And so doing that chewing motion is helping your digestive process. So the phrase was drink what you eat. So blending your foods makes it easier on your digestion, but then chew what you drink. Make a chewing motion. So yeah, chewing is good. And this is also why I like to mix it up. I've done straight juice feasts. I've done straight smoothie feasts as cleanses. And I really like, actually, now that I've done those, I like to incorporate chew food. So I have kale salad, I have chia pudding or chia porridge and things to chew. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Is it safe? Yeah, it's moving around a little bit. Is it safe to do enemas if you have any hemorrhoids? I've done them, and I have hemorrhoids, and you have hemorrhoids, and you do them. I mean, essentially what we do is we put a little coconut oil on the end of the tip of the enema. I would do that whether or not I had hemorrhoids, just for ease of insert, but that little tip isn't going in very far, and you're not putting in so much water that it's really hard to hold. The enema bag usually is, your body will only take so much.
Yeah, if that's a concern, I'd probably recommend the baking soda one.
The baking soda enema,
the most, because that really, that acidity is the hardest thing to deal with.
Yeah, for hemorrhoids in particular. And what do you think of tofu and tempeh? They are such a good protein source and don't really have the estrogen problems that the mainstream warns about. Asian women have the least breast problems, for example. So good with seaweed and kimchi. So here's what I think about tofu from the research that I've done, and anything soy. It needs to be organic and in small quantities and fermented. Like tofu is traditionally fermented. So Americans bastardize what was working for the Japanese. The Japanese women, they eat small amounts of fermented organic tofu that's not genetically modified, that doesn't have Roundup sprayed all over it, and isn't overpopulated in everything else they eat. And they eat seaweed and fish. So they have a lot of greens and then a little bit of this tofu. And in America, what we did was, oh, great crop, and we can spray Roundup on it and kill out all the weeds, but keep the soybean alive. And never mind that there's now Roundup on your soybean that has detrimental effects to your body. So it's become this cash crop in America that is now in everything. It's just, I'll get on my soapbox for a brief moment. But I went to the grocery store a couple years ago, and there was a corn tortilla that we really liked, and I happened to look at the ingredients, and it used to be corn, lime, and salt, and they added soybean flour at the very last end. It was like they must be getting some kind of kickback for adding that in. There's no reason to add it, except to poison us. So I actually stay away from tofu. I don't use it at all. If I were going to use it, I would probably get edamame beans that are organic, more straight up, or fermented organic tofu and in small amounts. Tempeh, I think that's the one that's a wheat base. I'm not entirely sure. I remember having it a couple times. I really love vegan sources for protein. I love hemp seeds and chia seeds and activated nuts. Yeah, the Monsanto thing, it's pretty bad. And the fake meats and sausages, really, we, for our Thanksgiving dinner, we had turkey tacos that were made from our recipe for a raw nut-based turkey scrambled meat, and super satisfying. In fact, we just had turkey tacos again this week, and I don't miss meat in that at all. I don't miss the taste. I don't miss the texture. I think those kinds of things can be great if you crave it. But a lot of times, and David Faber, our supplier for Superfoods, has talked about this too, a lot of times a craving for meat is actually craving for the seasonings that are in the meat. So you might look at that, look at the package that you love to eat and look at what are the seasonings in it, and then just add those seasonings to a nut-based mix or a hemp seed-based mix and see if that satisfies you. Sometimes it's texture, sometimes it's seasonings, and sometimes you just go for it, and that's it. And I'll bring up with that, I haven't mentioned this yet, someone had asked, what supplements do I need? Digestive enzymes are the only thing that I would actually say those might be helpful in a cleanse for managing detox symptoms and helping to flush things out. So it made me think of it now. If you're eating the fake meats and the fake sausages and you just really crave them and you go for them, but you know there's something maybe a little toxic about it, then take digestive enzymes when you eat it, and that'll help your body catalyze the process for digesting it and pushing it out as much as it can. But the digestive enzymes are little catalysts that help reduce inflammation wherever they are. They break down protein wherever it's built up in your body, whether it's what you just digested or proteins that are stuck in your digestive tract.
Yeah, it's a lot off topic, but do you want to cover oxy powder?
Yeah, okay, so we'll just talk supplements for a little bit because someone had asked about what supplements. So oxy powder is one that our colonics guy recommended, and I love it. What he said is do it the night before you come into the colonics, so you've got an immediate flush before you start it. And you can find it on Amazon, Oxy, OXY powder. And it's, do you know what's in it? It's like oxygenates what's in your digestive tract.
Yeah,
It's very gentle. And it basically stick near the bathroom the next morning after you take it at night. I think it recommends maybe 1 to 4 pills. I usually do 6 because I know that works for my body. And
you start with a certain amount, and if that doesn't do it,
then you can increase it. Take it at night, and then the next morning you'll basically be peeing poop out of your butthole. That's the best visual I can give you. But that's really, in some ways, if you have hemorrhoids, that can be really nice because you don't have a big log trying to push out. It's just a steady flow. I'm a little embarrassed, but that's the truth of it. And really, cleanses where you have easy poops are the best. So that's why the right mix of fiber and juices is really valuable. It's all about the quality of your poop and having it be gentle and easy and reduce the acidity as much as you can while it's coming out. I'd eat more nuts, but don't always have time to soak them. Is that really, really necessary as long as they are ground or chewed well? Which nuts don't need soaking? Just cashews. Okay, so here's the nut story. The only nuts that don't need soaking are Brazil nuts and macadamia nuts because they don't have the enzyme inhibitors that all the other nuts do. And the softer the nut, the less time you have to soak it. Seeds don't really count, like hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, they're totally fine. They don't, as far as I know, they don't have the enzyme inhibitor. If they do, it's so minor, they're so soft, they go fine. But the softer the nut, the less time you soak it. So like cashews are a soft nut, you could soak them in maybe half hour to an hour. Walnuts, almonds are a lot harder nut. I soak those overnight for 8 hours. And the reason I do it is if you eat a lot of nuts, you'll really notice it, that enzyme inhibitor is what keeps the nut from growing until it's planted in the ground and it receives water and then it starts to grow. And so if you eat a lot of nuts without soaking them, that enzyme inhibitor is building up in your system and you can feel the kind of sluggishness. And if you taste the difference between soaked nuts, which are activated and don't have that enzyme inhibitor, and nuts that aren't soaked and do, they're
a lot lighter.
The activated ones are a lot lighter. It's easier to digest. Your gut doesn't feel heavy at all. It just goes a lot better. And this is important for raw foodists in particular because a lot of times they use nut-based replacements for meats and in desserts. Cashews are prominent in raw cheesecakes, which are delicious, but they're very heavy because of the cashews. And so soaking your nuts makes a big difference. Sunflower seeds, and pumpkin seeds, I soak those as well, mostly because I use them in large quantities in a recipe. And to make it easier, what I usually do as soon as I get home with my bag of nuts is I pour it in a bowl and put spring water on top and let it sit overnight. And then you can, if you don't have a dehydrator or a way of re-dehydrating them, you can just take that and put it in the freezer. And keep it in the fridge for about a week, otherwise they start to get moldy after that point. But otherwise, I re-dehydrate mine after I've soaked them and then put them in the freezer, and then we just take our nuts out of the freezer as needed. So really making it as simple as possible. It might not be as easy as eating them straight, but simple sometimes is the win because it'll be easier on your body in the long run. And then Brazil nuts and macadamia nuts don't have that problem, so you can just eat them straight if you want something that you can just go to town without any reservations, except that they're high in fat, but we like them. We eat Brazil nuts all the time. All right, let's see, was there any other questions that were sent in? Anyone else have a question that they want to ask? Someone had emailed in and asked, do I need a meal plan? And I'm not a big meal planner. My response was, if you feel like it, go for it. It depends on what you're doing. Like Dan did a juice feast one time that was recommended. And that was nice because they had recommended juices and what to buy from the grocery store. So kind of planning ahead, especially if you know you're going to be down and out for 3 days because you're in detox symptoms, it would be nice to buy 3 days worth of juicing foods so that you can stay on it for those 3 days. And then after that, you'll probably feel like going to the grocery store. So a little bit of meal planning can be nice. As organized as I am, I'm just not a big meal planner. I think maybe if I had little kids, maybe I would do it. But I'm a big fan of just having a lot of things in stock. So like my nuts are in the freezer, and we have like, we can see what fruits and vegetables are in the fridge. We have seeds. We have superfoods on hand all the time. We pull from our inventory as needed. And we do a backup too. So, if you weren't running your own superfood business, I would recommend having a backup because these superfoods store really well. So we have 6 jars of chocolate bliss on backup, and same with salt for us all the time, and coconut oil. We go through that a lot. So have some things on backup, and a little bit of planning in advance of what kind of cleanse are you going to do. Are you going to do just juices? Then get a lot of vegetables. If you're going to do smoothies and puddings, like the chia porridge can last in the fridge for a week. So I love having that on hand. Whether or not I choose to eat it, at least it's there and available. And follow your cravings that day and eat what your body wants. Healthy, of course, instead of a set menu. Yeah, I love eating intuitively. And I think cleansing actually helps your body signal to you better what you need. The funny thing about the standard American diet and the processed foods that are out there, and the sugar in them in particular, they're chemicals that are addictive, and they mask your body's intuition of what it really craves. And so when you think you crave that sausage, like, okay, you don't know whether it's really, is it the fat? Is it the protein? Is it the spices? Is it the texture? Like, really diagnosing that is easier to do after you've done a cleanse, because you've done a reset on all those things that you may have been addicted to that really weren't good for you. So it's just a really great idea to do a reboot now and then, so you can be more in tune with what your body is craving. And you may find some new options too. I mean, I really don't do white sugar at all anymore, except for Dan's mom's Christmas cookies, which might be why I'm cleansing. They're really good. They're date pinwheels and they're awesome, but she makes them traditionally with white sugar and white flour. And next year I'm going to be upgrading the recipe to use coconut palm sugar and garbanzo bean flour.
This year. Yeah.
Oh, right, this year. Next year's Christmas. 2017.
Before Christmas.
Okay, I hear a request. But really, I mean, when you do a cleanse, you get to reboot those cravings that are really just addictions to chemicals, and start to explore other ways of creating things that are just as satisfying and better for your body, and you start to crave those more.
Yeah, and it's really important when you're coming off a cleanse to do it gently and stay with healthy foods, because it's really tempting to, I've done it, it's really tempting to just, your taste buds just want something more intense flavors than the gentle stuff you've been on. And to
Tell them what you did. Tell them what you did.
Well, I don't remember exactly what it was or what cleanse I was coming off of, but I did flavor sensation of nacho cheese Doritos and shredded cheddar and Frank's Red Hot sauce and green onions. Yeah, I did that
right after the cleanse.
Yeah, I don't recommend doing that.
Yeah. I don't recommend it either. And in fact, you'll see one of our stories of when we did our vernal equinox, our spring cleanse, that we did mostly juices, a little bit of chia pudding, and when we came off of that, we started with cantaloupe, and then we went to a salad that had some cooked sweet potatoes on it, like really gently come off if it's been an extreme cleanse. If it's raw till dinner, you're totally fine. It's not a big deal. But if you've been juice feasting for 10 days and you want to introduce regular food, don't go for hamburger. I don't recommend it. All right, so Jeannie's questions. Cleansing aside, do you eat rice or whole grain sourdough breads or grains in general? I can't seem to eat enough of anything without them, but have mixed feelings health-wise. Okay, so I come and go on it. Toast is some kind of emotional craving, stress satisfying food for me. My go-to breakfast when I was a kid, my mom would ask, what do you want for breakfast? I'd say the usual, which was scrambled eggs and toast. So there's something, cinnamon toast is like whatever reason. And when we started our raw superfood diets, I was completely off of bread. I had no desire for it. But I still sometimes have that emotional craving, and I get a really high quality sourdough bread. So it's got a little bit of, like a fermented food aspect to it. I've also tried other kinds of whole grain breads to varying degrees of satisfaction. And really, I just try not to overdo it. And we go through one loaf of bread, maybe when we were really on it once a week, once every couple weeks. I think we're probably down to once a month now.
And if you want to stay raw, there's a lot of options that you can do in the baking realm with a dehydrator that can still be raw but satisfy the need for warming foods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when I wasn't eating bread, the things that really worked were doing sandwiches that were romaine lettuce leaf wraps around a really yummy spread, and avocado for fat, of course, yum. And then I did a lot of raw crackers, and then put spreads on top of those. We have a organic corn chip from Target that we get that we love. That's really good quality ingredients. It's organic corn and sea salt and lime. And then I have a couple of recipes for raw breads that they're a little more time intensive than most raw food recipes, but they're worth it. There's an Matt's famous onion bread that's really good. And then I made a banana bread that was raw. That was like, when I tasted that, I was like, oh my God, this is why people ate bread as a nutritious food. It was so densely nutritious. And in fact, just this last year, I was talking to someone from Denmark who was describing what their food is like there. And she said they have brown bread and milk is like their traditional lunch, but it's completely different quality than what we have here. And I could just tell by her description, it was that nutritious feeling of lots of nutrients in that bread. And so, if you're going to eat it, go for something that's nutritionally dense. So for grains, I eat, not often, but periodically. I probably have like a rice bowl with veggies in it, maybe once or twice a week, you suppose, as our dinner.
I don't think that often.
Okay, maybe once a week. I probably make some kind of grain once a week. And so I love turmeric in with brown rice. It's like super, and coconut oil in there. It's super satisfying, and the sunflower salt. I'm getting hungry, you guys. And quinoa I really like. And I sometimes will do a mix of I'll add millet and amaranth into either a quinoa or brown rice, because millet and amaranth are both more alkalizing than most grains. And I don't really do white rice very much because it's more has more carbohydrate, more sugar. It's more like sugar. So that's kind of like a treat for me when we go to Chipotle, and I get their brown rice. I don't get their white rice. Everybody is so different. You're gonna have to find what works for you. If you find that grains don't work well in your digestive tract, you can remove them for a cleanse for a little while and see how you feel. And if you feel better without them, then start looking for the alternatives of what kinds of things satisfy that for you. So it could be more nuts and seeds, soaked nuts and hemp seeds. It could be raw crackers. I love kale salad. That's like my go-to for fiber. And I dress it with nutritional yeast flakes and fiesta mole and olive oil. It's like as a bare minimum. And then adding like an avocado to it, and sunflower salt, that's the other part of the bare minimum. Then that can be like really satisfying of something that feels filling to you. And I love potatoes. For me, nightshades are great, and I love sweet potatoes and baked potatoes and anything potato, as long as it's organic. Potatoes are genetically modified and sprayed a lot, so organic potatoes. So Jeannie says Ezekiel sprouted bread is a good one. Yeah, I've tried that one before, and I like that too. Mm-hmm. Eat a variety of foods and still stay healthy. That is the name of the game. Like, this is not about dieting. This is about giving your body the opportunity to cleanse. If it's got some toxins it needs to release, no matter how you got them in there, just giving it an opportunity to let a few out, and then use it as a reboot for your lifestyle. If you want to commit to eating healthier in certain ways, this is the time to do it. So, anything else to add?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So if you have more questions that you think of after this, or you're listening to this recording and you didn't get an opportunity to ask questions, then please email us. We love to just have an ongoing dialogue with whoever has questions. So you can email us bliss@lovingsuperfoods.com. So that's BLISS @lovingsuperfoods.com. And this video will be up, and I'm also going to give you a link for the cleansing book. It's lovingsuperfoods.com/cleansing. Simple enough. And you'll find that there's a placeholder there right now that doesn't say much, but coming soon to a website near you with the cleansing book. And a couple more things from Jeannie. It all really seems to be, it's not what you put in, it's what you take out that makes a cleanse work. Actually, it's both. I really feel that if you're adding, like, you can cleanse from adding chocolate bliss to your diet and you've never had it before, you will have a cleansing reaction. And it's a nice cleansing, simple, just you poop more and you feel better. So adding nutrients in is a really great way to start. But if you do both, if you add high quality nutrients in and you remove toxins, golden. And the traditional body fast is really like lying in bed and just drinking water and resting, and your body will cleanse with that. You're not adding anything in.
Yeah, and that is supposed to reset your immune system as well.
A water fast.
A fast. Yeah.
Fast. Interesting. So one more piece on that, you mentioned immune system. If you are cleansing because you want to help your immune system, then increase your intake of vitamin C and MSM as well, and vitamin D if you can. D3 is something that we recommend. So good things just overall. All right, I think that's it. So if you have further questions, find us at lovingsuperfoods.com. You'll find my phone number on there. Open your heart.